guys, I figured I'd show you what the newest acquisition is around here. Picked this up the weekend after Thanksgiving, actually, or yeah, somewhere in there around Thanksgiving. It is a Stover CT2, so it was rated at 2 to 2.5 horsepower. Hit and miss engine. It's a true hit and miss. It's not a throttle governed. And it had the original Wico mag on it, which is still hot, which is awesome. I just had to file the points on it. Let's see, ended up, when I got it, messing with it a little bit, it kind of got it going. And then all of a sudden I lost compression. Ended up taking the head off it. I was able to get a head gasket for it. And come to find out, well, there's so much carbon buildup. This thing is 1930s era, about. From what I could figure out, the tag was right here. That's missing, which kind of sucks, so I can't get an exact date on it. But so yeah, the exhaust valve, actually a bunch of carbon buildup stuck in it. So I cleaned the head off good, cleaned all the carbon out of the cylinder, because the piston only comes up, it's got probably about 1 inch to 2 inches before it gets to the top of the cylinder to allow the valves room. So there's a bunch of carbon buildup in there. Cleaned all that off, lapped the valves, got it all put back together. I got a new check valve for in the tank. There's a little needle check valve in there, so it sucks the fuel up. It doesn't allow the fuel to back drain. So, and then yeah, so that's that. And the fuel tank was actually pretty clean, which is awesome. Somebody at some point had repaired this rocker arm, but it works, so for now that's good. I mean, I'll look for an original one, but not too worried about that. And I do have a mag cover. It's downstairs, just to get that put on. But so yeah, figured I'd do a little video on this one. I took it to work and cleaned it with the hot pressure washer. And the other day when I had it at home, I took my top cover, my sump cover off, and I put new cork gaskets. And I need to get new felt gaskets, because those are all, you can see they're starting to seep. But we do have to put some fresh 1030 in it. It's kind of whatever it online says to use. So we did that and cleaned all the excess gunk out of there. And then, so for those of you that kind of don't know about hit and miss engine, this was new to me when I picked it up. But as you can see, my intake valve, there is no rocker on there, and you can see how it barely has any tension. If you watch when I was running there at the beginning of the video, on your compression stroke, your downstroke of your compression, that is when it sucks, it just flutters and it sucks your intake valve, which is what sucks your fuel up. That'd be before your compression stroke, excuse me. It sucks your fuel up, flutters this, and it's just enough so it sucks fuel up from down here. And like I said, all you got is a little check valve in the tank so your fuel can't back drain. It comes up to here, and this is just a needle in here, and then there's a seat right on the back side here, just a needle and seat. That's all that feeds your fuel, and you have your little choke plate up here for choking it off and getting it started. And then your exhaust valve obviously gets pushed here. And over here is your mag control. This would retard your timing, and that advances it. So once you get it running, you advance your timing, and you retard it to start it. But this here pushes this down, which in turn that pushes that down. That'll snap the points open, and this pushes that, and it snaps past it. But so I can't do compression. It's hard to do it one-handed. But that snaps past that, then it just comes back and keeps doing that. So obviously, once you're running, you can take it, open the choke up, and then you advance your timing. And then this is the latch out on these hit and miss, on this particular hit and miss. And as what happens is when it gets up to speed, this is your governor cover in here. Sun's kind of hard to see, but that's your governor cover in there. And this little tab down here, it pushes out on your arm, which is up here. This is a speed adjustment screw, but it pushes out on this arm once it gets up to speed, and it pushes this, which then slides into that little latch out notch there. It's hard for you guys to tell, but it slides out into that latch out notch, which once you slide over and the governor gets up to speed, it pushes this over, holds the latch out, which then in turn holds your exhaust valve, and it loses compression. And as it cranks down, there's a spring on this. As you can see how that springs back. It springs this back, and it allows it to close that exhaust valve again. That's where your hit is. And then your miss is when this latches out and you lose compression. That's just what maintains the speed so it doesn't over rev. And that's where you get the term hit and miss, because to about every, it probably turns This one's set a little faster, so it's about every other turn, but normally it's like every 2 turns of no compression to 1 turn you get a hit. So yeah, and then that's just your fuel fill down there. But the water tank up there and the muffler over here. This did have show you guys that real quick. This did have a big old gear on the side of it because it came out of a old cement mixer. But I took that off because I want to find a belt pulley, because I have an old buzz saw of my grandfather's that has a belt pulley for driving off like belts on mowers, and it's just a standalone buzz saw type deal, and I want to be able to set this up at shows with that. I think that'd be kind of cool, and cut some wood with it. But yeah, so I figured I'd show you guys what's going on around here with that. Pretty happy with that. Got it going today. Needs some fine tuning still, and I want to turn the speed down a little bit because it's not going to be doing any real major work anymore. So I turn the speed down a little bit and just got to tune it up a little. But so I figured I'd show you guys that. And then 140, haven't seen much out of that. The rear end, resealed the rear end itself. That's been repainted, as you can see. Back together, I just got that taped off. Pump's actually downstairs all ready to go back in. I'm just letting the I put a little of the Hi-Flex, it's Loctite brand Hi-Flex form-place gasket maker. I've been putting that on my gasket. I put that on that gasket because it wasn't an actual gasket, but I put that on both sides of the gasket to ensure a seal, because it's aluminum casting is a little porous, so I just want to make sure I get a good seal. We got brand new axle seals, new that center case gasket I made my own, and the bearings were in good shape in there, so I ended up I was going to originally replace those, but I ended up just deciding to repack those and put the needles back in there. So that's that. That'll be back together hopefully this week here, and then this will be back up and going. I should be good, no more leaks, no issues. But yeah, so I figured I'd just show you guys what the latest toy is around here. But I kind of wanted one of these for a while, especially after going up to Baraboo, and the amount of hit and miss engines up there are pretty neat. Like a John Deere one someday, but I figured I'd start off with something a little easier to get parts for, a little more common, and see how it goes. But she's a runner, so. Alright guys, well I'll leave you with that, and I will talk to you later.